Everyone, I'm here with just an update of the decks that I'm using for the month of January 2023 and just talking a little bit about my tarot practice for the month. So I'm going to show you the decks that I am working with, and like I said, just talk a little bit about what I'm doing, what kind of my plans are for working with tarot decks this year. So every year what I do is, at least for the last few years anyway, I'll pick a deck for the month to work with. And the last few years I've kind of been picking the same decks for a certain time of year. I'm a creature of habit. That's kind of what I do. But this year I kind of want to shake things up a little bit and pick decks that I haven't worked with for a really long time, or decks that are new, to kind of get myself out of kind of that routine. Now, January is a bit of an exception. This deck is relatively new. I think it came out at the end of 2021 or like late in 2021, and I ended up, I think, using it in January of 2022. So I am using it again this January, but it is a relatively new deck, and I really love this deck, and I really felt like working with it for the month of January. So this is the Rose Tarot by Nigel Jackson. I love the artwork that he has. For this month, I'm going to be using another Nigel Jackson deck as well. I'll show you that in a bit. But this is the Rose Tarot. Like I said, it came out in 2021, I believe. This is the Llewellyn deck. It's got the beautiful box here. There we go. Put that back. I do like the Llewellyn boxes. You know, they're sturdy. They're great to put on a shelf. These guidebooks are really, really lovely. I love the glossy pages with the beautiful full color thumbnail that we have here and pages of information. Now, I have to say that the writing in here didn't really float my boat. It's a bit dry. However, it is a good guidebook if you want to know more about some of the symbolism of it. But I don't really use the guidebook, I have to be honest. And then we have our beautiful cards here. We've got our ribbon. Whoops, so I knock things over. All right, so let's get into the cards, which is the main part of this. All right. Okay, so it is your, so I just keep messing things up. I don't know what's going on today. All right, so it is your typical Llewellyn deck. The cardstock, I know some people don't like this. They find it a bit thin. They don't like the gloss. I actually like it. I like a nice glossy deck, I have to say. I love that it is more slippy. I like that it's easy to riffle or rifle shuffle, however you want to pronounce it, easy to fan out. I just find these decks are easier to work with. When you're reading cards for people, you want a deck you can actually work with. And I find that the mat, especially like the more petal, like rose petal mat, it's just hard to work with. It's hard to pick up. It's just not very practical. So anyway, that's my rant about cardstock. I like this cardstock. I'm very happy with it. Anyway, this is the Rose Tarot. So it is a Marseille Tarot, and I'm not a big fan of Marseille decks. However, this one, I love that they have a little scene in the middle here, and that really helps me because I like a scene. I just find 5 cups on a page or 5 wands on a page boring. I like to see an image. I like to see artwork. I'm an artist and I love to see art. So I really like Nigel Jackson's art. I think this is best shown in the major arcana. So we've got a major here. We've got the Chariot. Again, this is one that has more of a Marseille, like I said, focus. It references things from the Bible a lot. It's very much drawing on sort of like the Rosicrucians and some of those Western mystery traditions. But I love this artwork. Like I love all the esoteric symbols in here. And I love this beautiful sort of like, it almost looks like pencil crayon, sort of like, it's weird. It's pastel, but still bright. Very beautiful artwork. Let's see if we can find some more here. The aces are fully illustrated, which is really lovely, as are the court cards. And the court cards even have names on them. There's some of the traditional associations with these cards. So we have the old names like knave for page and batons for wands. This goes back to, you know, the French words for these cards. All right, let's see if we can find some more. There is the Fool. Just really beautiful. Like, I love the drawings in here. I love the line work coupled, like I said, with this sort of very like soft pencil crayon type color. There's just something really lovely about it. Again, we've got our little vignettes here in the middle. It's beautiful High Priestess. Again, you've got the biblical references here. So it's really lovely, especially if you want to kind of like get into Marseille, but you want kind of like a bridge. I think that this deck is really good for that. If you like this kind of artwork. Also, if you like some of these older sort of esoteric associations, I think it's a really good deck. So this is a deck I'm going to be working with. If you get a reading from me, it will probably be with this deck. So next I'm going to show you the one of the Oracle decks that I'm working with for this month. So I thought that, actually I'm going to leave this here for a second so you can see. I thought that this would pair really well, and that is the, let's zoom out again, Winter Seal Animal Oracle by Silo Thompson. So she did the Herb Witch Botanical Oracle. There we go, that's better. Herb Witch Botanical Oracle. She also did, oh, what is the name of that deck? She did the Otherkin Tarot, and I have the other one, and the name is like totally escaping my brain right now, and somebody will probably put it in the comments, but she also has a really lovely tarot deck that I have as well. So I like this Animal Oracle. I love Animal Oracles. I think they're wonderful. This one I really like because it is northern animals. So it's animals that I see in my environment, you know, living in Canada on the prairies. I see not all, but a lot of these animals. So typical, again, we've got our beautiful Llewellyn box. This guidebook I really love. I think that the writing in here is just beautiful. We've got full color pictures. It has wonderful meanings for each of these animals, including reverse meanings. It's just a really wonderful resource and guidebook. Really love this. And of course we have our deck here, again, in the cardstock that I personally like. And we have these lovely drawings. Again, we've got kind of this line work with soft pastels that I think these two just go together really, really well. I think these two work together. So I'm going to do a little, I'm inspired by Dawn Michelle to do this, where I put them together. I think Candy, Soul and Soil does this as well. Like, they just look really wonderful. I love the keywords. I love it has both, you know, what the animal is and the keyword. So it's a very functional deck, even if you're not, you know, even if you're not well schooled in what these animals symbolize, then you've got a keyword there. So it's really great. Makes it really easy to read. Oh, the moon and the squirrel. I like that. I love the blue and the blue. Like the watercolor in this, the soft watercolor coupled with the pencil crayons is just lovely. So I think these two work together really, really well. Also, they've got a lot of white space, and that's part of why I picked these for January. Where I live, January it is winter, it is cold, there is a lot of snow, it is very white. And so this kind of, to me, really reflects living where I live and wintertime. So just really lovely, these two together. Beautiful. So another Oracle deck I'm using, and I guess it's not really an Oracle deck, it is a rune deck. And this rune deck is also by Nigel Jackson. So I'm sorry to say that this is out of print for those of you that are looking for this, but this is the Witch's Runes. And these came out, I believe, in the late 90s. I have had this deck since I was in university in the 90s. So I feel like I got it probably like 99 or something, like right at the end of the 90s. So the book has Silver Ravenwolf is the one that is the writer of it. So very old school here, Silver Ravenwolf. Let's see if I can get the book. Here we go. Without dropping things all over the place. Okay. So Silver Ravenwolf and Nigel Jackson. So I don't have the box anymore because the box was really like quite flimsy, but I do have the book. So before we get to the cards, I'm going to show you the book. Let's zoom out a little bit. All right, so glossy cover, it's just got regular pages. It is a really fabulous book, and as you can see, it has been well loved. So it talks about each of the runes, their meaning, symbols on there, keywords, what it means reversed. It talks about using the runes in readings, and then there's a whole bunch at the back, a whole section with how to read runes, card read, like how to do the layouts, but it also talks a lot about using them in magic as well. And using them along with astrology, all sorts, bind runes, using them together. It's actually a really great little resource book. Again, I'm sorry that it's out of print, but if you can get your hands on it, I do recommend it. I quite like this particular book. Now, these Ream cards, like I said, I'm using them paired with the Nigel Jackson, the other Nigel Jackson Rose Tarot, because I think they just go together really well because, hey, it's the same artist. So let's zoom in a bit. Okay, let's get this. But you can see, same artist. I mean, there's about, what now, 20 years difference between, you know, between one and the other. But you can still tell it's the same person. It's the same person. So it's got all of, this is the Elder Futhark, if you're wondering, which is the most common set of runes that you will see. So it's got the 24 rooms plus the 1 blank rune. I know not everybody likes working with the blank rune. However, you can take it out if you don't feel like working with it. It's a beautiful deck. I love that it has both the rune and we have the name here along with the title, the English title, what it means. And then we have a lot of symbolism in here so that you can help to understand or memorize what this particular rune means. Because otherwise, if it's just this, which a lot of the rune tiles are, you know, maybe you're not, you know, you need a visual reminder. I think this does a really great job of doing that. So I really love working with these. I actually do a rune reading for myself at the beginning of every year on New Year's Day to kind of see what the energies are like for the year. So this deck has been well loved and I love using it along with the tarot for my readings for the month of January. Now, finally, if you've had a reading from me, you know I combine tarot and Lenormand or other forms of cartomancy. And so for January, because we're dealing with a lot of white space, I'm using the Maybe Lenormand. I love the Maybe Lenormand. I love that it's got 52 cards in here. So you've got the 36 Lenormand, plus you've got the 16, is it 36? Yeah. You've got the 16 other cards that are commonly used in many forms of cartomancy. So you've got all 52 cards here. Again, not a fan of the split thing. I know it's a decision for design or whatever. This book is pretty good, I think, for teaching what the meanings are, especially for the ones that maybe aren't as common. So it's a cute little guidebook. We've got the 2 trays here. We've got our eyes on the back. And then we have our cards here. So they're kind of whimsical. Again, we've got a lot of white space, so it'll match the other cards that I'm working with. Got our coffin here. It's I love that it's got the insert with the traditional playing card meaning, and it's very clear what it is. So this is not a traditional Lenormand card, but you will find it in some of the German cartomancy decks, is the rose. Got the key here. The safe is another one. That's an extra. Okay. And we've got the numbers here too. We've got the man, the letter, the sun, got the cross, the garden. I like the little balloons going into the sky, the house, the mountain. We've got the agreement here, or the engagement. I like that one too. That's an extra one, so that's very cool. The broken mirror, that's another extra one. I really like that. I just like it has these little extras here. The train. It's got this sort of, it's very a traditional Lenormand cartomancy type deck, but it also has some whimsy to it as well. And I really like that, you know. So that's what I'm working with for the month of January. Like I said, I'm going to try to work this year when I pick my decks for the month with ones that, you know, I haven't worked with for a while. One of the things I want to do this year is go through my book and my deck collection and see what I want to keep and what I don't want to keep. And I know I've been saying that for a while, but I'm still intending it. And this way, some of the decks I'm on the fence about, I can work with and decide if I want to keep them or I want to pass them on to someone else. So if you want a reading from me using these decks, or sometimes some of the readings use specific decks, you can definitely go and check out my Etsy shop. I want to thank everybody for your lovely comments and all of your support, especially to my patrons. You guys are like the best. I love my patrons. And if you want to check out my Patreon, you can definitely go and check it out and see what I have on offer there if you're interested. But otherwise, just thank you for watching, for your lovely comments and support. You guys are the best. And as always, I have to do the thing. Peace and love and rock.